Okay, I guess we're gonna do a part three um, down here at the Truck Museum at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum in Auburn, Indiana. And I was enjoyed the lighting provisions upstairs, but I came downstairs and the lighting got kind of bad, so we'll just do another segment. So this is mostly international stuff because internationals were built in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So if you find one of those in somebody's barn, if it's anything at all, they're worth restoring. I know where there's one of these sitting within half a mile of my house, and I can't get the people to sell it to me. And it's just going to rot into a pile of dust because they say that they're going to restore it someday, and I'm pretty sure they never will. So, and that gets frustrating when you find decent pieces that. I knew a guy that he had several old Macs and some all in various stages of restoration, and he was doing a proper job. He was well into his 80s, and he would not part with any of them because he was pretty sure he was going to restore them all. So I don't know whatever happened, but he was in Comstock, Michigan. His name was Leon Hafner. So there's probably an experimental international. Land speed record holder. There, what I want to show you is looks like there's a Contour Cab Mac and an Emeryville cab over here in the mix. So if you're going to build a model, I'll give you some detail here. Obviously the fifth wheel's gone. Looks like it's got a great big Cummins. I don't recognize the transmission. It might be a Road Ranger. You can see that the muffler tilts with the cab. So obviously this was some type of a mule truck for testing clutches or So 1952 white 4-cylinder 2-cycle diesel. Here's some newer Navstar engines, and here's a B67 Contour cab, which everybody says they're real rare, but actually I think they're quite common because the last several I've looked at for sale were Contour cabs. So problem is that was for length limitations, and you could get the trailer closer to the cab, but it ate up a lot of room in the cab, and you were sitting kind of cattywampus inside, and a passenger didn't have a prayer sitting in there. See if this will open up. See what I'm saying is that your feet are right up against the doghouse. So, but they at that time had length restrictions, so bumper to back of cab BBC dimensions were paid close attention to and marketed. Here's an old white WC. That's a cool truck if you can find one. This is a superpower, probably a gasoline engine, and but it's not a Mustang. And the Mustang was there. Well, it does have the Mustang on the hood, hard to say. But the superpower was a giant gas engine. WC22, that's And then here's another, this is a KB10 tractor. This would be the big boy for international back in those times. And here's another KB. Could you spend all day driving one of these? Could you drive one of these for 8 to 10 hours? I don't know. You did what you had to do back in those times, so they didn't know any better. It is what it is. Two big guys would be shoulder to shoulder in that cab. So, oh boy. Here you go. If you want to do a bus conversion and do a motorhome, have we got something for you? That looks similar to a machine shop I started out in. This is a Diamond T. They were fancy by comparison, but once again, that cab is so small. Two good-sized guys would be shoulder to shoulder in there. No stretching out to take a break or take a nap. It's probably in the early 50s. Chevrolet. There's that WC. That's just a cool looking truck. Did you ever see one of those cruising around the neighborhood in the morning delivering milk before you went to school? I did. Okay, so that's going to be about it for the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum. Sorry about the second segment lighting issue. I got it figured out in the third segment, so I may skip that and just go right back to making this all into one segment. All right, so we're over at the, this was Auburn Production Facility in 1937. Part of it, about 1/4 of the plant is left in its museum, and here's the cars. They have a good amount of Nascars from the 60s. This is interesting. This is Benny Parsons Torino 427 car. Now, these cars were running close to 200 mile an hour laps at Daytona back in the day, And the reason why is because they were big blocks, and those guys were crazy driving them. This one is just one that they just got, and it was restored. It's Richard Petty's car. Number 43 is on it, and they just got this from the Petty organization. David Pearson. I bet you these cars were never this well kept. And here's a notorious drag car. This is a Hemi car. Al Ekstrand had this car. And there's the reason why it was notorious. There's a Hemi Coronet. Charger that they're doing some work on, apparently. Look at this, with a Hilborn injection system on it. How'd you like to sit next to that thing going 7,000 RPM all afternoon? Here we have a Yanko car. I believe that's its pedigree right there. This is a Pontiac Tempest with a 389 and tri-power. This was something to be feared. Le Mans. Oh, this is a Grand Prix. I'm sorry, correct me. Pretty good representation of the classic muscle cars here. And over here is one of my favorites, white 3000 with a sleeper. I believe that's a gas motor truck, auto carrier. If I found one of those with a 220 Cummins, that would be the ultimate in this truck. This thing is gorgeous. They tended to rust to pieces, so they're hard to come by nowadays. This would be a Mack AC, probably mid-20s, and has pneumatic tires on it. And in the cooler weather, the open cab sometimes wasn't that big of a problem, because there's the radiator there for cooling that engine, and they just blew that right into the cab, and it was more of a problem in the summer than it was in the winter, from what I've read. See, a lot of these cars have current license plates on them, so I believe at Cars and Coffee that they have on Saturdays once a month, a lot of these cars come out into the parking lot. So this is a correct DZ 302 Z28 car. Always classic 57 Chevy. Somebody call the cops. Cuda, Tornado, and one of the bucket list cars that I have is right here. A notchback Hemi Cuda. Look at that, it's got the pie crust slicks on it. Correct old decals in the window. Stewart Warner gauges. And this is a newer Hemi engine, I believe, because the spark plugs aren't where they belong. So anyways, pretty cool. Okay, upstairs in the showroom area, they have a giant model car collection. They said about 6,000 pieces, but they're mostly like die-cast, 18th scale, 25th scale, and antique toys, which is kind of cool. There's some. Looks like Milner's 32 right there. I believe these would be like 1/32 scale. These are really highly detailed. I'm really impressed with those. I don't know whose those are. Maybe Franklin Mint. Comments? There's an AMT 352 Peterbilt. Built correctly. Radiator's in the right spot. Radiator grill. That's kind of a hard one to do on that model. There's a Sunoco tanker, the CF doubles. Very good. Very nice. Some old Nyland and Dopke's. I have the yellow one. I have the Turner Hopper in my collection. Right now I'm in the process of bidding on a travel loader, and I've got a Turner tractor in my collection, and I've got one of these Adams graders by Dopke. And I'll tell you, if you were a little kid and you tried hauling that down to the sandbox, that was a job. Probably just left it down there or left it in the house, one or the other. I suspect a lot of them just got left in the house. So here's the antiques. Fair collection of some of the Lenzi Matchbox stuff. Hubleys, they've got them organized pretty well. Some of the stuff came out of Sears catalogs and Montgomery Ward catalogs in the 60s. There's, I believe, Sandy Elliott's Mustang down there with the bumblebee stripes on it. And then they have a, somewhere I saw, they have Auburn's. Here's the rubber toys, the Auburns. They were made here in Auburn, Indiana too. And they're fairly easy to come by. You stumble across them at garage sales and flea markets, and all the antique malls will have some of them. So my favorite was always that steam shovel. So that's about it for the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum. Kind of a quick run through for you. I had some lighting issues and the camera stopped on me one time, so I think I'll do 2 segments. So some of you guys will get to see the trucks and some of you will get to see the car part. And hope you guys enjoy the video, and I enjoyed being here today and sharing this with you. So if you would like and subscribe, tickle that like button for me, and I'm kind of watching everybody moving around me. I'm going to go explore those gift shops. So thanks for watching.